And I have seen so many people in my life who identify with who they are professionally. And very often you can see that when they get old and they retire, they become pensioners, and still they keep on talking about, oh, how wonderful it was when I was working in that position, how important I was, and they can't really let go of that person they were when they were, whatever work they were doing before. So there is attachment there, the attachment to the sense of who they are in connection with their work. And I think this happens very frequently among people. And of course, what happens if you get fired, if you think that your position, your social position, who you are, is so important in accordance to your work? What happens if you get fired? What happens if the company has to sack lots of people because the economic times are going down? You feel bad, you feel terrible about yourself. And you always read about a few people who, when the economic times are going bad, they jump off buildings and do all kinds of crazy things because their identity is so completely and fully tied up with that job, with that sense of being successful, with that sense of having a great salary, with a sense of basically the whole social life is tied up with this identity with their job. So this is a classic example of how we attach to things and the consequences that it can sometimes lead to if those attachments are very strong. Another area that we attach to is often our homes, our houses. And I see people very often, they spend a lot of time building up a beautiful house for themselves. And of course, a house is a place where we are protected from the world outside. It's a place where we spend much time with our family. It's a place where we enjoy entertainments and all kinds of pleasures. It's a place where basically usually we have a good time, particularly if we have a good family life. Of course, sometimes people don't have a good family life, in which case it can be a negative thing. But if you have a good family life, then it's usually for most people a place you get attached to because of all the pleasures you have in that place. And again, one of the things you also find with your home, that very often people put a lot of effort into making their house just like an extension of themselves. They decorate it in this way, they buy furniture which they like in a particular fashion, and they do all these kind of things, and they feel that their home, in a sense, is an extension of their personality, of who they are. And of course, because of that, they also find you have great attachments to your house. And if something goes wrong, if your house burns down, if you have to sell it because you can't afford to have this particular house anymore, again, I've seen so many times people grieving and lamenting the fact that they have to get rid of their house. Again, there's a sense of attachment there to this particular house.